Chapter 421. A few paces ahead, Ever's gaze shifted toward the people Yudir was looking at. Why those people? Apparently, she didn't remember all the faces she had seen during Apeto family's trial. Yudir kept silent for a moment before speaking. Those are Apeto family's people, the representatives who appeared in the first trial. Do you remember? The first trial? Oh, now that you mention it, they do look familiar. Only then did a genuinely pleased smile blossom on Ever's face. My goodness, how did you recognize that they were here? Yudir explained that he had seen them arriving late at the auction house. They must have fled to the west because they are guilty. Yet they still have the audacity to come here. How grateful and joyful I am. Indeed, he agreed. We must isolate those people in a special place, and if done properly, they might be able to catch the tail of the other Apeto family people who had escaped the trial. Yudir made a small request to the very delighted Ever. Before that, can you release them for a moment? No? Seeing Yudir's nod, Ever raised her hand to the members, without asking anything further. As the signal to release was given, the members hesitated but soon relaxed their grip, and Apeto family's fugitives quickly scrambled towards the inner garden. What do you plan to do now? Move the others to the security management team first, but just pretend to chase those people and leave them alone until they beg to be caught. The vast garden surrounding the auction house was now as good as in Yudir's palm. As he reached down subtly, moving the power of the earth, a deep rumble echoed through their feet. What did you do? I changed the structure of the garden a little. Though all escape routes were already blocked, Yudir had added a touch of variation, creating a maze. Now, Apeto family's fugitives would face things they would never encountered before inside that space. No matter how much they run, they could not find the right path, and they would return here, chasing once more by terror. How long could those precious people endure? Their bodies, never having endured hardship, would scream, and there would be no one to heed them. The sight of them wailing as their fine clothes were torn, slogging through muddy pits, was already in his eyes. Their tongues, so agile in the courtroom, would be of no use in that garden. Ever understanding that they would be left alone until they broke their high pride and begged to be caught, burst into a clear laughter. My goodness, you want them to taste what it feels like to be hunted? That's much better than just scolding them. Ever immediately called a few members and explained the situation, entrusting them with the task of chasing Apeto family's fugitives lightly. The members who had learned that the ones who had dared to insult their commander at the trial were there immediately ignited with passion. However, other members who quickly received the information also crowded over, all raising their hands wanting to participate, leading to debates and even fights to determine the order. Watching everyone fiercely argue that they could chase the fugitives better without a single person backing down, Yudir thought how much they had changed since they first joined the cavalry. To be honest, it was quite nice to see those who sincerely followed Kishir stepping forward without hesitation to work for him. It's a shame. I wanted to enjoy the thrill of hunting prey in the maze created by Yudir, said Ever, genuinely disappointed as she moved on. They entered the auction house, walking down the hallway, a mess with broken and scattered items. Kana is by the back door where the warehouse is. The workers who had followed the Awakeners from the Star of Nagran or the southern merchants captured by Kana and Robel were kept with the distinguished guests in case of unexpected dangers. They planned to transport and confine them separately. Kana? Ever, either. Standing in front of the warehouse with a blue roof, Kana waved with a smile. Next to her stood Robel, his arms and neck wrapped in cloth. Udir carefully surveyed the dozen or so unfamiliar people under the watch of the cavalry members behind him before speaking. I didn't hear that Robel was hurt. I just got nicked while trying to protect the list from those guys. The list is undamaged and safe, so don't worry, Rebel said with an awkward smile on his embarrassed face. But Kana shook her head as if to deny it completely and explained what had happened. Things almost got dangerous because those people didn't care about hurting themselves as they charged in, but Robel helped. That's how he got hurt. Kana and Robel originally planned to find the list first and then capture the Awakeners from the Star of Nagran. But as they found the list, they encountered the Star of Nagran, who were confused due to an unexpected earthquake, and a standoff ensued between the two recognized groups. At that moment, the rest of their party was momentarily scattered, leaving only the two with the weakest combat abilities to protect the list. Robel, recognized by his former colleagues, wanted to fight them, enraged by their mocking that he was still alive. His desire to find out Nahan's whereabouts and avenge Marty had clouded his mind. But hearing Kana loudly calling out unknown information about Marty, he suddenly snapped out of it. Seeing one of the Star of Nagran's Awakeners, who would rather self-destruct than fail, he inadvertently recalled Yidur's words and threw himself in, exerting his ability. His previously considered modest ability, which was to slightly control the wind, did something unprecedented. Robel managed to lift Kana and the list, who almost fell down the collapsing stairs, and even the Awakener trying to explode into the air and drop them from far away. He was injured as he tumbled down, hit by debris and attacks, but Kana safely protected the list, regrouped with her fellow members, and successfully captured the Star of Nagran. If Deputy Commander Kana hadn't told me about Marty back then, I would have probably messed up the job in blind revenge, not even recalling Yidur's words. I wouldn't have realized the true use of my ability. I never felt so at ease before, Robel said, looking extremely relaxed despite his wounds. It seemed as if he had partially escaped from the heavy burden that had been weighing him down. What did you tell him, Kana? What did you learn about Marty? Kana grinned slightly in response to Ever's question, asked in a hushed voice. That short tie that Robel was carrying was given to me in advance by a person named Marty. When I touched it by chance, the information was somewhat readable. Marty, she was really worried about him. More than any good advice, it was ultimately emotions that best move a person's heart. Kana had succeeded in stopping Robel, releasing the information she had read with an expertise incomparable to before. In some respects, it was a power far stronger than a fearsome weapon or the ability to blow up the entire building. Our captives are almost unconscious, but you can wake them and ask questions if you want. That's okay. I would like to see the inside of the warehouse. Yidur turned his gaze to the closed warehouse door. Oh, because of the secret passage? Kana guided him, seemingly knowing why he wanted to see it. Here it is. Be careful following me. Things have spilled everywhere. See below that shelf? Among the counterfeit items that had been scattered and tangled, a small hole was visible below the twisted shelf. It was a passage just big enough for one person to get through. It's a tunnel dug through the first floor, and when the lid is closed, it just looks like the floor. Luckily, I got my hands on it and figured it out quickly. After realizing that those who should have been inside had disappeared, Kana immediately used her abilities. No matter how stealthy the passage, as long as the thoughts of those who had used it remained strong, there was no way to avoid her ability. Did you go inside? Yes, the exit is near the north gate, a little away from the auction house. I came back because it looked like they'd already escaped. I want to read a bit more before their information gets erased. Sorry, I couldn't catch them. Kana had no reason to be sorry in either's eyes. She had been busy participating in the mission as soon as she returned, yet she performed more reliable actions than anyone else. What could she possibly be sorry for? Ever seemed to think the same way and comforted Kana by holding her. What are you talking about? It was my job, but since I was late, it's my fault. If it weren't for you, Kana, we wouldn't have known about that passage for a long time. Why do you say that? I can't tell you how grateful I am to you. It was my job to stop those inside from getting out. If you must find fault, I would bear the most blame. Upon hearing Yudhir's response, Kana's eyebrows drooped and she tightened her lips. Even though she hadn't shown it, she seemed quite frustrated for having missed the southern merchants. Thank you, but neither of us is at fault, so please don't say that. In truth, since they knew where the southern merchants came from and where they were headed, there was no major issue this time. Moreover, even the Kalanesa powder they had taken was not real. Kana knew this fact too, but she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed and smiled faintly. I wanted to show our commander that I did better when reporting my return. It wasn't fear of making a mistake or worry about getting scolded. It was a statement that showed how much Kana respected and trusted Kishir as her leader. That trust and confidence, entirely different from her previous life, settled Yudhir's heart more securely than ever before.